Hello, welcome back to my revision channel. So today's video is going to be the first out of 4 kind of short videos, but just videos about each of my A-level subjects and my experience with them in year 12 and whether I think you should take them and just general advice for each one, because I said that if my GCSE A-level results video got 8,000 likes, I would do one of these, and it got 10,000 likes in one day, so I was like, okay, I think you want this. So today I'm going to be starting with politics because that is the subject that I'm dropping, and if any of you have watched my sort of November update from year 12, that was my favourite subject back in November. So a lot of you have asked, how have you gone from like loving politics to hating it? So I thought I would sort of go through my politics experience, and yeah, basically I want to go into the civil service. I want to be a diplomat, so I thought, well, politics is going to be a good A-level to take. And if I'm honest, I took it because the grades at my school for politics are always really good. The teachers are really good, like, generally. Well, most of the teachers. And, like, I just thought, I'm really interested in politics. I like politics, so why not take it? And when I took it, I was set on doing, like, Spanish and politics at uni, or, like, a language and politics at uni, for, like, the first 3 months of year 12. And I wasn't going to apply to Oxbridge because I thought, well, they don't do what I want to do, and me and my family got in loads of arguments because they were like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I really want to do politics and Spanish, whatever. And for the first like 3 months of the year, like 4 months of the year, I was doing all my reading in politics, like I was really interested in politics, and like, you know, everything was going well in my life, but actually now I want to take, I think Spanish and German might change, but generally I think I want to take Spanish and German. So I'm going to sort of explain like why that is, like why I'm not taking politics anymore, and I hope that this video will like help with that. So I do AQA, I did AQA, government and politics. So we did Gov P1 and Gov P2. So Gov P1 is people participation in politics, so that's like the democracy side, like how people vote. Gov P2 is Governing Modern Britain, which was my favourite unit. I absolutely love that unit. And that was about the UK system of government. So we did 3 out of the 4 units in Gov P2, and properly we did 2 out of the 4. Through no fault of my own, we only like properly learned 2 of the 4 units in Gov P1. So basically you're supposed to learn at least 3. I only revised for 2 for both of mine because I'm lazy. I got 98 UMS in Gov P1 and 100 UMS in Gov P2, which I'm happy about because Gov P2 was the one that I put the most effort into. Gov P1, not so much. So at the start of the year, I absolutely loved politics, and what I loved about politics was just that it was my only subject where I felt like I knew what was going on, because it was an old specification subject, and like I really enjoyed the content for Gov P2. Gov P2 I think I would recommend to anyone. It's basically about government processes, like how the government works, how people like react and things. So I essentially love that because I'm very like, I really like British politics. I think it's really interesting. So we did Parliament, which is all about how Parliament works and like the inner workings of the Commons and the Lords and everything to do with that. We did Core Executive, which is about the Prime Minister and their cabinet and all of like the inner workings of the civil service. And we also did Constitution and Civil Liberties, is that what it's called? It might just be called the British Constitution. That was basically about the British Constitution and civil liberties and the status of the Constitution. That was very much like law, like I would say. My mom, who's a lawyer, when I told her about it, she was basically like, this is like law, it's like the first unit of my law degree. So all 3 of them I loved, like I won't lie to you, like I actually really found them interesting, and if I could do them again I would. I revised so hard for those exams, and what I would say about Gov P2 is to make your notes as you go. So what I did is we made the class notes, I did extra research, and then I collated everything into one mind map. So I'd have a mind map for the powers of the Prime Minister, a mind map for select committees, a mind map for the Human Rights Act, for example, and that's what I did all the way through the year. So then by the end of the year I had like a book filled with mind maps. If you want me to do a video on how to like do mind maps, then give this a thumbs up, but I'm not going to show them right now because I don't have them with me. But I had like a book filled with mind maps for Gov P2, and my Gov P2 was this thick and my Gov P1 was this thick, which I think just shows the difference in like how I felt about the two. Gov P2 is very content heavy, and the terms and the concepts are not very easy to grasp, I don't think, for a lot of people. I just found it really enjoyable. Like, I didn't hate it at any point. The only thing I hated about it was how much there was to learn. It's my only A-level where it was just learning stuff, like learning content, which at GCSE I thought was my strong point, but actually now I've realised I much prefer having like the breadth and the flexibility to like do other things. So yeah, Gov P2, I would say do your notes as you go along and make sure that you research around. Like, current developments are so important for politics. Like, all of my essays for Gov P2 were essentially based around current developments. So I did, in the exam, I did Parliament and I did Constitution, which were the two that I revised the most for. The Parliament questions, the 5 and the 10 marker, were lovely. 25 marker was horrific. I'm not going to say what they are because just in case you have a mock exam. And Constitution, I actually really liked all 3 of the questions, thankfully. I do think, I'm really glad that I did well in that, because I got 94% in my mock. I don't think I got that in the actual exam, but like, I was happy with how I did, and 100 UMS couldn't really ask for more, to be honest. So yeah, Gov P2 was great, absolutely loved it. Now on to Gov P1. I hated Gov P1 so much. Like, I just hated it. Like, I'm not even gonna, I just didn't like the lessons. I just felt like I wasn't learning anything. I literally had this much compared to this much. I don't know whether that's because of the teacher or just because of the topic. I didn't like it. I honestly didn't pay attention for pressure groups or whatever the last one was. What even was the last topic? Political party. I don't even know what the last 2 topics are. We had done the first 2 topics by Christmas. We came back after Christmas and I just hated it, so I decided that I wasn't going to pay attention for political parties and pressure groups, which we whizzed through like so quickly. Like, I'm genuinely not even joking, like we did it in like 3 weeks and I was like stressing out, so I thought, no, I'm just not going to try. I'm going to put all my effort into Gov P1 with the first 2 topics, which I don't regret doing because like I found the questions like alright. The big issue I had with Gov P1 was that it was so based on current affairs that I learned so many statistics for Gov P1 that weren't relevant by the time I got to the exam. And the worst thing for us was that Theresa May called a snap general election, which I genuinely think is the reason that I didn't do as well, because it stressed me out so much that all of my statistics all of a sudden made no sense. So I was trying to learn all these new statistics just before the exam. It was horrible. And when I got in the exam, I hated like the referendums questions because they were all to do with Brexit and there was nothing on electoral systems, which was my strongest section. Like, AQA just did all referendums, even though electoral systems is the main part of one of the topics. I came out of that exam, I cried, it was awful. I was so upset because I'd revised quite hard for that exam, and like to have nothing on the topic that I'd literally learnt inside out was really upsetting. And the first question was on leadership, so naturally I wrote all about Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn, which was not relevant by the time she got. I hated Gov P1 and honestly I literally like did not want anything to do with it by the time the exam came around. I didn't end up using any of the statistics that I'd learnt last minute because none of the questions asked for them. My advice for Gov P1 would be keep up to date with like current affairs and don't bother learning electoral systems because they're probably not going to come up. That was creepy. Yeah, I hated Gov P1 like all the way through the year. Like, that wasn't really a thing. Like, after November, my relationship with it just soured. I hated it. I dreaded the lessons. We didn't do anything in the lessons. I just hated it. Gov P1 was the worst unit out of all of my A-levels, I would say. I hated it. That's just a personal thing. Like, a lot of people actually got 100 UMS in Gov P1 and then lower UMS in Gov P2. That's actually like the general trend, that people did better in Gov P1. I didn't. Don't know why. Don't really care why particularly. I genuinely think it's because of the exam, like how it went on the day, because I came out of that exam thinking that went horribly. But it's over now. I don't ever have to do it again. My honest experience with A-level politics has been, I really liked it at the start of the year, but the novelty wore off really quickly. And it got to the point by exams that I just couldn't be bothered. AQA put the exams really late in the year, like they were really late. So by the time I got to half term, I just didn't care. But all in all, I would say that I don't regret taking politics as a subject. I just fell out of love with it after sort of February. And I'd say like I went from loving politics and hating English to hating politics and loving English, which I'll explain in my English video, of course. But yeah, I'd say my honest experience of A-level politics, you know, do take it if you like politics. I think for me, a lot of the experience was down to the teaching. I really enjoyed the teaching method for GovP2. It really like worked with me. GovP1, not so much. I don't really care particularly. I got an A, it's done, I don't have to touch it anymore. Now a lot of you have asked why I'm not taking it for A2. Honestly, the main reason is because we started the A2 course and I hated it. Like, I literally was like, I can't do this for another year. Honestly, American politics is just not, like, I'm interested in it, but not learning about the ins and outs. I like just reading about it. That's why I didn't take history at A-level, because I just like learning history, but I don't like learning history. You feel me? So yeah. I don't know what A2 politics is like. I will never know because I've dropped that. I was like, if I get full UMS or close to full UMS or like any decent grade in politics is going, I was so fed up with it by the last lessons. I genuinely didn't pay any attention in GovP1 and I'm so glad it's over. But yeah, that's my advice for politics, is take your notes as you go along. Make sure you keep up to date with like recent affairs. And if you hate it, I'm sorry, but I don't think you will. It was just me personally. Like, all of my friends are taking politics next year. It's just me. Like, I'm just the awkward one. But thank you so much for watching this video. I promise the next 3 will be more positive, but this one obviously, yeah. Leave any questions you've got about politics down below. I feel like I haven't really covered it properly, just because I don't want to talk about it particularly. But like, leave them down below and I will get back to you, and I'll see you very soon in the next video, which I'm about to film. Bye!